All right. Welcome back, everybody. Good to see you all here. Raphael, Jamie, Kevin, Quaid, Nadav, Pete, Blue Laugh 07. I don't know your real name, but good to see you. Appreciate y'all being here. We are going to take a look at least a couple of things tonight. We've got some mail sent in by Eric Vandrick, so we'll see what he sent in. And we've got Stephen Shore, Steeltown. I want to check this one out for a few reasons. I've had it for a while. I've it's not new to me. I've spent time with it before, but seems fitting right now. So we're gonna take a look at that one here in a bit. Move some things around here. Jake, what's up? How's everybody doing this evening? What's the weather like out there? Anybody else sweating? I lost the some kind of little gasket in here, so now this thing leaks every time I use the actual cap. So if you're wondering, if anybody watches this back and is like, does he not know? Yeah, warm everywhere. Jake, hope you're staying safe with all the flooding down there, man. Terrible and just horrifying what's going on in Texas. I can't comprehend it. Having kids, awful. Pete just got back from a road trip. Hell yeah. Winter in New Zealand, raining nonstop and very cold. Dang. I'm not ready for the winter yet. I'm still enjoying summer. In all honesty, I don't normally, the older I get, the more I enjoy the colder months more than summer, but I've been enjoying summer. Even humidity and all. It's been a busy one, but it's been a good one. Spider, what's going on? We say we open up some mail to get. Well, maybe let's. It's just now. It's 8:59. I'll give a couple more minutes for everybody to kind of file in here. I jumped on a little bit early just because I was set up and ready to go. But yeah. What was I? There was something I was going to bring up. It'll come to me later. There was something I thought about, and I was going to make a post about it on Instagram, and I was like, I'll just save it. I'll just talk about it on stream. It'll come to me. Yeah. Yeah, I get that, Quaid. Even with the humidity and how miserable it's been, the winter depression is rough. Nadav, yeah, do you find it harder shooting during winter? It's hard to keep all the gear dry. Yeah, if you're dealing with a lot of snow and stuff like that, that's a pain, but me, it's more of the mental aspect of it than the physical aspect. Like, yeah, walking around in the cold sucks and dealing with snow and keeping everything dry, that's a pain. Making sure you're like dressed warm enough and have enough layers and insulation to stay warm, that's a pain. But it's really just the mental aspect of like, it's so much harder to get out the door mentally for me during the winter than it is in the summer. Even on the extreme ends of either, extreme heat or extreme cold, more likely to get out there in the heat. And I have been this summer. The time at the paper mill, I knew it got extremely hot inside there at the actual machines, but I had no idea how hot it really got in there. And that on top of the heat and humidity we've had. It's like it's just it's crazy. So yeah, Ohio weather is definitely all over the place for sure, Anthony. Winter in Florida is wonderful. Bring it. Yeah, Gregory. I went to trying to think when it was in November. First time I was ever in Florida was, or at least that I remember. I was probably there when I was a baby, maybe, but um, I was in St. Pete in 2016, I want to say, for my cousin's wedding. I photographed his wedding in St. Pete, where he lived at the time, and it was amazing weather. But we were there in the middle of November, so we got there just in time. I don't want to visit Florida in the summer. I know that. Yeah, Quaid, exactly. It says the short, dark days are just not good for the mental. Thank you, Nadav. I appreciate that. The paper mill project. Actually, let me see where. I don't know. There they are. Here we go. Flip this over. So in here, I have. Last week we were talking about the paper from the paper mill, the very last roll that came off the final machine that was still in production. I shared that I have a big, giant sheet. It's this yellow copy paper. It's not, made for photography. You can see right back here, that's the roll. So it's a decent amount of paper that I have for this. So I'm going to use more. But this was the very first attempt. I just basically measured out 8 by 10 and fed that through my Epson. And I honestly was shocked at how well it printed. Let me zoom in here. Again, it's like, you can, maybe you can see the transparency in the paper behind there. I don't know if that's going to come through. Like, it's a very thin paper. And again, it's not made for this, but Epson P900, I just adjusted the setting to, just plain copy paper. And honestly, it kind of looks great. And it's odd with this like yellow, canary yellow kind of color to the black and white photo. Obviously, it wouldn't really. I might try it just to see what a color print would look like on this, but thinking about doing a limited, like a single set of prints, all made on the last roll, or paper from the last roll that was produced here, and just do maybe 15 to 20. I have no idea how much paper I have. Like, I haven't fully measured it yet, but just thinking out loud, doing some kind of, number of prints, of black and white prints on this. So we will see. That's just one of the ideas at the moment. But I have a ton of different prints in here that I've just been printing off for basically giving away to different people from the mill, and also just testing out different papers that Epson sent over for like sample packs, basically just trying out a bunch of different papers. So I appreciate that. Yeah, I was shocked at how well it turned out. Yeah, it has that old school sepia look to it. It does have like a very lo-fi kind of feel to it, which is sick. Again, that paper, it's as thin as you can get, really. You know, it's just basic paper for copy use. But the yellow looks pretty rad. Yeah, that's a good idea too. Incorporate, because that's the other aspect is like I only have so much of it, and so I feel like I'm dealing with like a finite resource in that I can't just go back and tear off another big sheet from that final roll. It's, one and done. And so I thought about doing gel plate transfers. We talked about it a little bit last week, I think. I've thought about all the different options for what I want to do, and I think doing a set of prints is the way to go. Um, just because I feel like that's going to get the most leverage, not leverage, but like the most mileage. That's the word I'm looking for. In order to like just create the most with the paper. Um, I don't know. I'm weighing out my options still, but that's kind of what I'm after making that print and seeing how it turned out. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards. Oh, rad. Jorge says, we do these lithos for when our folks transfer to different places. It would be cool to do one with that paper in the middle and then get signatures from the workers of the mill. That would be sick too. There have been some local, there was one I believe today that some of the local, like the Chamber of Commerce and some local businesses that kind of got together and put together sort of a uh, presentation, I guess, luncheon type thing, inviting workers from the mill to come out and just kind of see what resources they have here locally in terms of finding new employment, anything that can kind of help them in this next stage. So I want to try and just somehow get access to communicating with as many people from the mill as I can, and just sort of let them know, like, here are the photos if you want them, and also if there's anything I can do to further tell a story, let me know. Like, this has opened up my eyes in terms of just being open in general to not trying to like think of the next thing like usual, but yeah, letting myself be open to just what comes my way, and because none of this was really by plan, and so it shifted my thinking a lot in terms of how I want to approach working on things and like what I want to work on next. I'm like anything and everything now is I'm into, you know. Spider, yeah, we can do a print swap. I've got let's see. So this is just like the usual stack that I pull from, but there's a bunch of random photos that were taken. Well, there's family photos in here too. There's Forrest when he was a baby, me and Elliot. Um, but usually there's like a bunch of stuff from, adjust the mic, sorry, a bunch of stuff from when I was working on Surveyor, and like stuff that didn't make it into the book, a lot of B-side stuff that I would print off small just to kind of put things together like on the wall. And so usually what I like to do with prints like these, when I'm doing a swap with friends, or if I'm sending anything to a friend, I'll just grab a random, print, something like this, and toss it in there. Or just literally send one of these like as a postcard itself. So yeah, shoot me an email, Spider. We can exchange info that way. And Yeah, 4x6. Let's do it. Pete, hell yeah. That's the thing. Like this kind of stuff. And we're gonna open up one from Eric Vandrick here in just a bit. Um, that's what stuff like this is the best for. You know what I mean? Like a lot of this stuff was printed really small for the sake of like sequencing and just visualizing everything. But then when I'm done with it, it's just gonna sit in a drawer. And I have plenty of prints. I've got backups. I've got the negatives. These served their purpose, but I'm not like a hoarder when it comes to stuff like this. Like I've got the original Surveyor like dummy that I made, and I've got things like that, but otherwise all of these pictures are just gonna stay around in boxes. And so for anyone who wants to do random print swaps, especially just as like postcards, like fully taking the print just like this and then slapping the address and everything on there and a postcard stamp and just putting this as is in the mailbox, that's the way to do it, in my opinion, for just like quick and dirty simple print swaps. Jai Tanju, he has a whole thing, the Film Por Vida like print exchange program, I think is what it's called, if I remember right. He's been doing that forever, and it's just like that. It's that simple, just swapping postcard prints with people, and it's fun. It's old school. It's sort of a dying art in a lot of ways, or just a dying practice, maybe. But yeah, we can do some print swaps. That'd be fun. Let me know. You know where to send them. Let me get this right here. P.O. Box 2006. 2006. Eric, I blocked out your address. I got you, brother. But if anyone wants to know where to send any mail to share, if you want to send prints or zines or anything at all, hate mail, singing telegrams, or whatever the hell they're called, send it my way. Nathan, what's going on, player? Rakesh, what's going on? Nadav says, I wish I could print swap, but the cost and shipping over here probably be cheaper to hand deliver it. You know, you're not wrong. I've got some friends, and actually some family in that area of the world, and the cost, I mean, shipping my books overseas has gotten more and more expensive every year. So it's a bummer, and I have friends who are like, is there any wiggle room on that? And I'm like, believe me, I'm not making money on the shipping. Most of the time I'm losing money on the shipping because they continue to go up, and I haven't updated them since Surveyor came out. But it ain't easy. If anyone is familiar with Deadbeat Club, there's a reason they say there's no money in books. But there is a lot of fun. Let's see what we got here. Oh, hell yeah. It's okay to throw plastic cameras at techno-fascists. God chose what the world considers foolish to shame the wise. God chose what the world considers weak to shame the strong. God chose what the world considers to be low class and low life, what is considered to be nothing, to reduce what is considered to be something to nothing. 1 Corinthians 1:27-28. Is that right? I'm not a Bible guy, so if I think I read that. That's how they're, you know. What am I trying to say? How you state the book and what chapter and verse. Let's see what we got here. This is sick. Ultra wide ineptitude is what it says on the spine here. If my camera can focus, there we go. Ultra wide ineptitude. Eric Vandrick. I don't know if you're gonna see this, but I'm interested so far. Oh, hell yeah. This is, I used to have one of these. Or, well, Elliot has this one. Okay, so everything is going to be from this particular camera, which has been in many shapes and sizes. Or not really shapes and sizes. They all kind of follow that, but a lot of flavors. Has anyone seen these? The Rito... This is the one that Elliot has now. Vivitar, ultra wide and slim, freestyle photo back in like '08, I want to say 2008 probably, maybe 2009. They made them that. I think it's this one right here actually. Let me look. Yep, that's it. So that's the Black Slim Devil. That's what it says right here. You can't really tell, but it would say Black Slim Devil, but then the white one, not this one or that one, I don't think. The white one would say Slim White Angel, and the black one said Slim Black Devil. And I remember being like, what are we doing here? I don't know. That's... you might want to rethink the naming here. Oh, sick. Okay, here. I got a little mail here. Let me read this briefly. Matt, I'm super excited to share my first photo zine with you. Oh, hell yeah. Eric says most of the time he's been working on this zine simultaneously while watching the live streams. Thank you for the live streams. Major motivating factor for me actually getting this done. I'm a busy father trying to juggle home life and my passions and hobbies. Hell yeah. Says, I hope you enjoy this zine. It's not perfect, but as I realized, that's kind of the point. Overcoming tyranny, one plastic camera, one cellulose frame at a time. Shout out to Eric Vandrick. Oh, sick. With some stickers, too. That rules. Come on, focus for me. There we go. That rules. Eric, major shout out to you. This is awesome. Included a little small print as well. That looks great. Sick. All right, let's take a look at this. We're going to be fighting glare, I can tell. Might need to adjust this lighting. Hold on one sec. Let me see here. Maybe if I... Tell me, does that look bad? If I kind of tilt it forward? You guys let me know. Each book is different, so... Charles, what's going on, man? Joseph says, I'm back after a long hiatus. Loaded one roll of Portra 400 in my Nikon F. Slowly going back at it. Can't believe I've shot less than 10 rolls of film last year. Probably less this year. Hey, man. Don't beat yourself up over it. There are all kinds of real-life factors that come into play here. This is so sick. The plastic lens. There are a couple of years of 4x6 prints that I have. It's during the years that I wasn't keeping my negatives. I was young and foolish, and no one was teaching me anything, so I didn't know any better. I just thought, well, I've got the 4x6 prints, so I don't need these negatives now, because Walgreens already scanned them for me onto this compact disc, so why the hell would I need negatives? So there are several years of my life and my photography that the only thing I have left are the 4x6 prints that I had made. So a lot of stuff from this particular camera. Just a very wide, cheap, heavy distortion, heavy vignette, f8 or f11 lens, but it was just so fun. I used to love keeping that thing in the camera bag or in like the little middle console in my truck or my car. I think, yeah, I had the car at that time. Used to drive a little Ranger way back in the day. And then I swapped it out for the Ford Focus. And I would have never thought about it when I got the car. I was looking at good gas mileage. But every person that saw me driving a Focus was like, did you get that? Because, like, you focus a camera like a photographer? I'm like, yeah, man, that's the only reason I bought the car. Nadav, have a good one. Thanks for hanging. Oh, wow. Got some wild double exposure. I was going to say cross process, but that could be, what was it? Lomachrome purple or turquoise? Something like that. Or it could be cross processed. I don't know. Yeah, these are rad. I think I might, let me see here, use that as the cover. Yeah. I thought it might be inside, but here it is. We've got it out here. This is the, essentially, the same version that I had, but a different coat of paint on it. But Elliot has used this on a couple of photo walks that we've gone on, and just as rad as it always is. You just wind up, point. I mean, it's nothing to it at all, but it's a good one. Keep that right there. Yeah, no doubt. TV says, really awesome first zine. Love what I'm seeing. Yeah, his page numbers, that's a good point, Gregory. That took me a second to figure out, like, what that was. Page numbers right here. Wow, it's struggling. There you go. The little background behind the page numbers is this little detail that's on the camera model. Super rad. Like this one a lot. And this one, the crazy flare that you get on that lens. You can't, I mean, maybe you can, kind of like shoot with that in mind and plan for it, but I feel like it was always just all over the place, yeah. But that's what made it fun to shoot into the light. Kid jumping off with the with the trampoline, with the umbrella. Yeah, this is rad. I really like the different toning here. Again, I don't know if this is maybe just done in the edit or if it's one of those like monochromatic films that have sort of a color tint to it. I really like the way that looked. It kind of looked like a sometimes a C41 film, like a C41 black and white film, like an Ilford XP2 or the old BW400CN from Kodak. Sometimes a place would scan it, and they would scan it as a color film because it's a C41 film, even though it's black and white. And so you would get your scan or your prints back, and they would have a slight magenta or sometimes slight green cast to it. That almost reminds me of that, but this looks better than that. This doesn't look like an accident. This looks intentional. Hey, what's going on, Benji? Just discovered Jules Allen today. That name sounds familiar, but I personally am blanking on Jules Allen, so maybe I need to look up Jules Allen. Name sounds familiar, but I can't picture anything. Nothing's coming to mind. For anyone else just joining us, we are taking a look at a zine from Eric Vandrick, a viewer that sent this into the P.O. box. Everything was shot with one of these little wide, ultra wide and slim point and shoots that my camera can't focus on. There we go. I just now realized I've got the Z6 that I'm currently loaning at the moment. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've adjusted the autofocus settings in there like I have on my Z8, so should probably do that. This is a fun one. I like that frame a lot. But yeah, this is Eric's very first zine. If you're just now joining us, he mentioned in the note that he has been watching the streams, and this is his very first zine. So we just opened it up for the very first time here. Super hyped for him. Film is that? Okay, I'll say that's HP5. Yeah, but it's got that. And he could just be adding that in post. It has a rad look to it, though. I've been more and more drawn to just the weirder processes, the better. Okay, here we go. We've got stuff in here. Oh, yeah. For any of the film heads, which obviously if you're into this, it would make sense. Yeah, we got Lomachrome turquoise, purple color. So all these different film types and processes, you've got the corresponding page number there. Hell yeah. At Eric Vandrick. I'm going to put that in the chat real quick. Everybody should... I don't know if the at... This isn't for Instagram. It's in the chat. That's for Instagram. Everybody go hit him up. Follow him over there. And just say what's up. Show him some love. Sent that over to us. Again, look at the cover. That's so sick. I love that. Hell yeah. That is a far better first zine than I ever made. So, well done, Eric. That's awesome, man. Yokai, what's up? Today is the day I finally met Matt Day. Did you meet me today? I mean, I meet you right now this way. So I was going to say, I'm like, wait, I didn't meet anybody today, did I? Very cool little zine project there. Hell yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's see. I like that one on the left. Alright, cool. Let me gather this stuff back up here. The stickers are so sick. Focus sucks. That rules. Alright, so now figure we can take a look at Steel Town. Yeah, this light, I might need to adjust this light a little bit. One sec. Alright, and if I adjust... We'll see. I might be able to work against the glare a little bit better this way. We'll see. 1 minute. Trying to light for books is a lot more challenging than you might think, especially when each paper type is reflecting differently and also different sizes, but okay. There we go. No polarizers. I do have a VND, so it's got a neutral density in there. Let me try that actually. Let me see. Because I usually don't use the VND. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, yeah, we're good. One moment. Dealing with a... Nope. Slightly bent or dented adapter. Step-up ring. And then if I just bring ISO. How's that looking on stream? Does that look okay? Bump the ISO up. Might have cut it a little bit, but we're still... Woof. Yeah, I'm just going to have to change the lighting setup for next week. That's all. Damn. Let me see here. Either that or I need to build a little, what would that be called? Not really a podium, but kind of that. Something that just slightly angles it up this way. I also wish the problem with wanting to show the full spread is that the photos are going to be so much smaller on some of these. Any good photo walks happening in Ohio anytime soon? Clayton, not that I know of, unfortunately. I'd like to try and organize something here in Chillicothe at some point. I've wanted to do that in the past, but every time I start to look into it, I realize it's going to be a decent amount more than I guess I have the time to like organize and plan properly. But somehow all three of my kids are going to be in school this fall, which doesn't seem possible. Forrest is going to like the very beginning, early preschool. So he just turned 3, so he's gonna be going to like a very short day of preschool. I think Monday through Thursday. It might be for like 2 or 3 hours, but just that alone feels crazy. I won't know what to do with myself having that kind of time each day with all of the kids, you know, being cared for, being looked after. They grow up too fast. Yeah, exactly. That's for sure. So Steeltown, a lot of the towns in this area, people always, I don't know why, I don't know if any of you do. A lot of people will say Midwest and refer to Ohio as being in the Midwest, and I don't know. I get where people are coming from. It's got like the vibe of a Midwest place, maybe, but if you look at a map, at least when I was in school, uh, it ain't really in a Northwest anything. But regardless, a lot of areas throughout the country probably look very similar to the towns in this book, which I think this one spans a few different. I can't remember if there's some in Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Get that up here. There we go. But a lot of these places, when these industrial places shut down, the factories close, it changes everything drastically. And so now it's been on my mind a lot with, see this one here, don't write off Youngstown. I'm pretty sure that's Youngstown, Ohio, because that, if I remember right, that ain't far. That's pretty close to Pittsburgh. Oh yeah, Uncommon Places is great for sure, Pete. Yeah, Mid East. That's much more accurate for Ohio, not Midwest. But I digress. Yeah, a lot of I've got family that are steel workers and family that were steel workers down in Portsmouth and around Portsmouth, just that area, not Portsmouth alone. And a lot of people are drawing the comparisons to what Portsmouth has faced over the years with various factories that shut down. A lot of people are, drawing that comparison and wondering if Chillicothe is going to look and feel the same way Portsmouth has over the years with the paper mill shutting down. So I don't know. I've been thinking a lot more about all the photos that I've made so far, and I mentioned earlier, like, I want to keep the possibility open as I'm continuing to shoot. I haven't been back in the mill since the end of last week, and I don't think I'm going to be going back in, at least at the time right now. I don't think I'm going to. But I still feel like there could be things that I could continue just exploring via photography with those particular people and just that story overall. So haven't made any like hard decisions on anything just yet, but I do know I want to make a small, um, simple zine type of thing for mainly for the local community. I think I mentioned last week, like when I do that, I will make it available online as well to everyone here. But first and foremost, I want to try and just make something for the local community and try to make it. I don't know. It's tough. I want to do it. I don't. Is tasteful the word? Like it's a. It's a really unfortunate situation, and so um, to draw attention for like it just feels like I'm having a hard time figuring out how I want to go about sharing the work in the most respectful way, I guess. So all that to say, like with a small zine of some kind and maybe doing like a local show with prints from the paper made at the mill, like I shared at the beginning of the stream. I really want to try and do something like that first and foremost. And then as things continue to progress, if I continue shooting and the project continues evolving on, I'm all for that. But I think in the immediate future, a lot of people have already been asking, like, are you going to do prints of these? Are you going to make a book? All like local people, who have connection to the mill. So I want to make something relatively soon for those people and just make something affordable and accessible to as many people as I can. So we'll see. I've still got to meet with one of the local shops and kind of look over what their options are and what they're capable of. And if I can print locally, that's the goal. So I really hope that what they can do in terms of printing photography, I hope it's good. But yeah, Campbell, Ohio, Struthers, Ohio, Buffalo. So New York, Ohio, a lot more Ohio here than I realized. I think in my head I was thinking it was a lot more Pennsylvania. No, this is okay. All New York and Ohio. Unless, yeah, I'm looking over all these. Everything is either New York or Ohio. So, my mistake on that. Oh, my mistake again. I spoke too soon. Back here is Pennsylvania. So New York, then Ohio, all the way through. A lot of Youngstown in here. So stuck in Ohio here. Got a lot of Youngstown. And then Johnstown, Pennsylvania looks like the rest of these here. So Stephen Shore, Steeltown. There you go. Yeah, I gotta get that glare worked out for next week. That's gonna drive me crazy. Raise that up a little bit. Yeah, I appreciate that, Dan. It's funny. Trying to, I don't know. It's weird trying to like think about how the photos are going to be read when it's not an audience of photographers. Does that make sense? Like a lot of people, I don't know. I mean, I don't go out of my way to do like I last week I did a like a live show with a local media company, and that was really cool because I got to talk about it directly with people in my community, and I knew that the audience of that show was all just the local community, and so it's not me talking to photographers or um, necessarily people who are like looking for stuff on the arts in any way. And it's just been an interesting thing thinking about how the photos are perceived, and or worrying about things too much, and just dealing with so many people who have been kind. I mean, it's also like it's a tough time for people who are working there. So I've had some people while I was there, not at me specifically, saying like they were angry at me, but I had plenty of people share how they felt in the whole situation, understandably so. And so I think some people will sort of have that feeling baked into looking at the work. When they think of the photos or anything, I think there will always be somewhat of a bitter taste to it for some people, and that's just the reality of the situation. And the photos aren't meant to negate that or like sugarcoat it, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. Spider, I appreciate that. It's funny. I had a friend who actually also lives in LA, and he was talking about one of the vlogs I posted, and he was just commenting on the cornfields all around me when I was driving. He was like, "Damn, there's fields everywhere there." He's just driving around a bunch of fields, and it was interesting to him because it was just an abundance of fields, and that's all you could really see. But to me, that's all we ever see here. So when I go to any big city, it's shocking. Yeah, well said, Dan. Says, I don't think Stephen Shore ever felt like he was taking advantage of the people in his book, but their stories were important to be shared. And I think that's, again, doing this on my own time, my own dime. I'm not, they didn't ask me to do this. It's just something I want to do. And so I think people have been able to like see that and understand the intentions. Um, so that's been really good for sure. Um, Man, I can't, I can't for the life of me remember now what it was that I was going to mention on stream. I don't remember. Clayton, where you at? You might have told me already. Struggle to create in my small town. I feel like I need to always go to Columbus or Dayton. You can't be far if you're going to Columbus or Dayton. Didn't hinder my viewing experience at all. Indian Lake. Where's that at? Indian Lake. I'm gonna guess it's west of here. And it's not like any of us are getting rich at this, quite the opposite. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Speaking of which, anyone want to buy some books? Nathan and Josh came over a few days ago, and Josh ended up buying a couple of books while he was here. Because we were just sitting around looking at books, and he mentioned a couple. He was like, I know you'd never want to sell this, but if you ever do. And I was like, son, bills are high right now with 3 kids. Any books are for sale, I think, at this point. God, it's yeah, every time we go to the grocery store, it's nuts. I don't know. I mean, when, like I said, when Forrest goes back to school and my schedule opens up, I am definitely going to be opening up to do more photography for hire, just for extra income. But at the same time, I'm also like, I'm not against the idea of like finding some kind of work, maybe if photography related, but also like I could also find some kind of work not photography related to do on the side just for some extra income. Because when you're raising a family, man, every little bit helps. Every little bit. It's insane. Northwest of you. Okay, hour northwest of Columbus on 33. Oh, right on. Yeah, I've never been to Indian Lake, Clayton. Um, Maybe I'll go there to take photos sometime. You can show me around. Jorge says, funny, Clayton, I feel like I struggle to create in the bigger, more popular spots. I feel like I'm more at ease in my tiny little village. That's exactly how I feel. When I go to a city, I get... I mean, there's the feeling of like being overwhelmed where it's just like there's so much here, but also if I'm not going there for something specific that I want to shoot and I have background info and like context on that place, I feel like I'm just kind of like going in blind in the sense of like, I mean, unless I'm just looking for purely visual things, which I guess most of the time I kind of am, but still, I don't know. I feel like I need to know at least a little bit before I can feel like in tune with everything enough to pull my camera out, if that makes sense. It's weird. I do have Sage Sawyer passing time. Yeah. Good call, Charles. Let's take a look at that one. Woof, this glare. I apologize, y'all. I have got a different setup here. I had to move things. I was trying to get an air conditioner going. I did get a dehumidifier going in here, and that's made a massive difference. It's much more comfortable. The books are a lot more straight every single day in here. So the dehumidifier was a very worthy purchase, but I was trying to get my little window AC unit going, and then a storm happened like right after I got it going before I could really, weather seal it. So that came down. Had to clean up a bunch of water. Long story short, shifted things around a little bit, and I'll need to tweak the lighting for next week. Love these. Just got American Scene for my birthday, and it's such a gorgeous book. It'll be a big inspiration for my work going forward. Hell yeah. American Scene is one of my all-time favorites. If you haven't seen on the channel already, I've got a video where I talk to Sage about her work and about this book in particular. Her other work as well, but we spoke around the time that Passing Time was coming out, so definitely check that out if you haven't seen it already. I do have Jeff Bridges' book, Pictures Volume 2, looks like. I do have that one. Clayton says, I hadn't done much landscape street style shooting, mostly did portraits and model work, so I've been trying to venture out and do more. Hell yeah. I mean, I've always just carried my camera around everywhere I go, but for a long time, it was heavily focused on portraits, because that's what really, when I started doing it for a living, it was just all about shooting as much as I possibly could, and not just for work, but like in my free time, just doing as much photography as I could for the sake of practice and learning and improving. And so portraits was like my main thing for many, many years. And then the in-between stuff would just be, you know, carrying a camera, usually my Minolta, and just using that for like the in-between stuff, the random landscape I would see. But it was never really like, I didn't start spending time actively going out and looking to take photos like that on my own, I guess, until probably 2011. I feel like it was around when I first started. And honestly, the original Fuji X100 was kind of a big part of that, where it was different. I was using Nikon. I had a D800 at the time, and a lot of off-camera flash stuff, which back then looked and weighed a different amount, I should say, than what it would now. So having a small digital camera like the original X100 when that came out, having something like that to just shoot for my own enjoyment was legitimately like, it made a difference. And so I found myself going on more just solo walks with my camera when that came out. Before, it was always like going out to shoot photos with people, you know, going out on location to shoot portraits somewhere and lugging all of the equipment. The X100, when that came out, it was so out of the I mean, outside of Leica cameras, there weren't any cameras doing that specific thing, you know, making a camera that had that sort of mechanical, you know, vintage feel to it or whatever. Really just the mechanical aspect. It just felt so much different than what else was available at the time. Obviously now they've realized they've created like an entire market, you know, of not just their cameras, but everyone wanting to kind of cash in on that same thing. I mean, honestly, like, I can't say they're directly responsible for it, because Leica's been doing it forever, but maybe the success, I mean, the gateway, what the Fuji to Leica pipeline is a very real thing. It's got to be like the Leica gateway drug, I would imagine. And not saying that like you should go from Fuji and then obviously want to pick up a Leica, but I've seen that enough times over the last decade. That's a pretty common route. And maybe the Leica wouldn't have as many sales, or like have branched out to do things like the Q series. And I don't know. Fuji legitimately shook things up with that original X100. That was a monumental, that was like Canon 5D Mark II type of, you know, impact. Hell yeah, Jaden. Living in Olympic National Park. Bet that's beautiful. What's up, Javier? Good to see you. Oh, hell yeah. Jorge says, I call it my fishing time, and it's a big excuse to drive to different places and explore new towns. That's a good way to, or that's like a, fishing time is perfect. That's what it feels like. Always been one of my favorites from this one. Love that framing. Maybe. Hold on a second. Do it this way. Love that. So that was Passing Time by Sage Sawyer, if you haven't seen that one before. One sec. It's also going to show, I don't know if it's going to translate. Some of the prints from the project so far. Since we last spoke, I think I was maybe going back and forth on kind of doing a mix of color and black and white. And I think for this stuff, as a matter of fact, the paper that I made this print with, this yellow paper right here, this was ripped off of this roll right here. So that is the final roll of paper that was produced at the paper mill in Chillicothe last week. So afterwards, a lot of people were going up and taking off strips of paper from the roll to take home. And so, lucky to get some of that and make prints with it. But I like this one. The outside exterior of the mill is this very distinct shade of blue, where if you're driving, around it, you just see this massive, all of these massive blue walls. And so I shot a lot of like kind of abstract detail stuff, just to kind of thread through, to try and build out kind of the atmosphere of the place. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, originally I was going to be going all black and white because that's just how I've always worked. And the more I've printed, the more I think I have to do color for some of this. Black and white just isn't going to hold the same amount of details. Not like from an image quality standpoint, but thinking of like building out the character of the mill, and so much of that identity is in the color that can be found there. And so trying to eliminate that feels like that would be a little counterintuitive. Like the result would suffer from not having that element to it. So this was some random set of essentially a locker room and showers and everything that was in there. But one of my favorites from the last day that we were there just roaming around, I don't know if you can't really see it in the print because it's falling off, but there was definitely a poster or magazine spread that was pasted up here on this locker of a naked woman. But it's so faded now that you can barely make out what was there. But yeah, got a ton of these prints that are on all different kinds of paper, but I wanted to find, tell you what, shooting up at the stack is a crazy perspective when you're literally standing at the bottom of it looking up. Unreal. I did recently learn that the pilots over in Dayton at the Wright Force area, they refer to, or they use the smokestack in Chillicothe as like a waypoint when they're flying, which is pretty rad. Didn't know that. But testing out a ton of different paper types in these sample packs, and I forgot that I had, there's some color ones that I really liked. I forgot I had this paper from Hahnemühle. It's this William Turner, like etching rag, I think is what it's called. It's not this one. Damn, that, there we go. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on here. Probably not. It's probably going to be too hard to tell. The texture on this paper, though, is, I mean, damn near feels like grip tape when I'm sliding my... Can you hear that? It's real toothy. Hahnemühle, William Turner, but I really like it. I don't know, it's so far great for black and white, and it's real thick. I think I'm gonna try and use it for some cyanotype printing. I got some cyanotypes, I got some cyanotype chemicals again recently, because it's been a while and my old stuff had dried up. Basically, there wasn't that much left, but I've been making some digital negatives, printing on the transparency film, essentially, you know, making a negative for a cyanotype. I haven't done a video on cyanotypes in a while, but I do plan on sharing a little bit of that in the process when I do. But yeah, regardless, if you want to see a video on that or would be interested in that, let me know, because I plan on sharing it. I haven't done any alternative process stuff, I guess, aside from the gel plate. That's not really like traditional photographic, you know, alternative process type of thing, but it is fun, and it is a process, and it is alternative. So what are you gonna do, you know? But yeah, let me know. I also, in moving everything over here and still needing to finish insulating the barn and all of that before I do a dark room, at the very least, I just want to be able to come out here and do some like alternative printing as well, you know? Building a couple UV print boxes is also in the plans, so that rain or shine, no matter what, I can come out here and make some prints that way. Because I still need to finish the insulation before I even begin, you know, plumbing up a dark room out here. So we'll see. I don't know, but I just want to make physical prints, and I don't care as much about, like, that's the nice thing about things like cyanotypes or platinum and palladium, anything where you're doing a contact print where you can print that negative. You can make that digital negative with an actual negative, or you can make it with a digital photo as well. It doesn't matter what you use, because you're printing it digitally. So that, to me, and also just the chemicals needed for some alternative processes versus the needs for a full, like, until I have a fully functioning darkroom, I just want to be able to still make prints. And I've always loved alternative process stuff like cyanotypes. So I'm going to be doing more of that in the very near future. So you'll be seeing that when it does happen. Yeah, it is like a construction zone. I mean, not quite. It's like, it's just stuff. Like, right now, I have everything pretty much not fully organized as it can be right now. But until I fully dismantle the back wall of shelves, I can't finish insulating it. And I've just been putting that off because, not necessarily putting it off, but I'm going to need a significant amount of like steady time, like no breaks, just hammer it out. Because in order to get to all of it, I'm going to need to pull a lot of stuff out of the barn, which also means everything's going to be outside. So it either needs to not be raining, or also, I mean, some of it wouldn't hurt being in the sun, but still, it's just a big process. And right now it's tough with my schedule. So I was hoping to be much further along in the process than I am now. But when you're a dad, most of the time you don't have control over that, over your schedule or the time it takes. So I don't know. I feel like I'm in the fourth quarter, and I'm starting to think like, all right, I should probably get some reinforcements and ask a couple of my friends who I know would be happy to help, and just try to find a couple of days, a weekend or a couple weeknights or something, where me and a few people can all, with some concentrated effort, take care of things like that. But again, at the same time, that also costs money as well for all of the supplies and or materials needed. So it's just one of those things. It'll get done when it gets done. I've been able to still, like, I've got the fan going on me right now, and even when it's not fully insulated, I'm surviving. It's like, it could be so much worse. So I want it to be better more than anything, for like visually. That to me is like the biggest pain in the barn right now, is that it's not done yet, and I want it to be done so that people don't have to look at it not being done, if that makes sense. Like, every time I film a video, I'm like, man, I wish this place looked better, but it is what it is, you know? I don't know. It's one of those things. I change my mind on it all the time, but I think about, at the very least, putting up like a curtain or something, so that I feel like that would just, it doesn't bother me to see all this stuff, but on a video, it just feels so cluttered. It's also hard for me to focus when I see everything. Another reason I turned my desk to the wall this way, so that when I'm at my desk and I'm looking in front of me, there's nothing. I can't see it. There's a window here, and I can, pull the flag out of the way to see out the window. But before, when my desk, looking ahead of my desk, was just open to all of the family storage and like things that you wouldn't normally be like seeing while you're working. You know what I mean? I've always loved the open concept since I first moved everything out here. But more and more, I'm like, I don't know, maybe it would be good for me, for my mental ability to focus, if I do have my little cave where I'm shut off from everything else going on. I don't know. We'll see. But that's going to be it for tonight, though. I appreciate you all hanging with me. Oh, Greg, you said you tried a Polaroid emulsion lift last week and it did not go well at all. I'm sorry to hear that. Jalen. I missed this. Rock and roll, baby. That's what it's all about, Jalen. But yeah, I appreciate y'all hanging with me tonight. If you have any questions or thoughts, anything at all, you know where to reach me. Yeah. Thank you all for hanging. Hope you all enjoy your week, and I'll see you guys next time. Sorry. Real quick, before I close it. Carlos, do you happen to have Imperial Courts by Dana Lixenberg? No, I don't. I apologize. I just saw that right when I hit the closeout screen. But now you know. All right. Love you guys. I'll see you next week.